Hello there fellow cake friends, and welcome to this week's tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make my gum paste recipe, which is the most valuable recipe I have. I use it for all of my sugar flours and is going to save you from dull or cracked sugar flours. I will have the printable recipe for you in the description box below. It also includes substitutions for vegans or if you don't have some of the ingredients, and also how to color your gum paste with deep and rich colors without it losing its structure. I am so excited to share this with you, and if you are excited to watch, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up before we get into it, and subscribe to my channel, and let's get right to the recipe. I'm mise en placing all of my ingredients first. We'll begin with 400 grams of icing sugar and 1 teaspoon of meringue powder. Next, in a small bowl is 2.5 teaspoons of gum tragacanth and 2 teaspoons of CMC or tylose powder. Here, I've stirred together 60 grams of cold water with 3/4 teaspoon of gelatin. And lastly, I have a couple teaspoons of shortening. I may not use it all right now. Once you've scaled out all of your ingredients and left the gelatin to sit or bloom for 3 minutes, we are ready to get started. I'll pop the gelatin mixture into the microwave for 20 seconds. It will melt the gelatin and you'll be left with a clear mixture. It may take a bit longer if your microwave isn't quite as strong. Add your icing sugar and meringue powder to the bowl of your stand mixer. I'll be using a paddle attachment and stirring this on low for about 30 seconds to combine the two dry ingredients. Add the melted gelatin mixture into the bowl and allow it to stir on low until the icing sugar is mostly absorbed. Then you can turn it up to medium and allow it to whip for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, it should be noticeably lighter and fluffier too. Turn off your mixer and add the gum tragacanth and CMC powder. Stir this on your lowest setting to make sure that it doesn't go all over your kitchen. And once it looks like it's been mostly absorbed, turn off your mixer and scrape the bowl down and your paddle attachment. Comment below and tell me the first flour you're going to make with this gum paste recipe. Maybe it will give me some ideas for future tutorials for you, or even longer lessons or workshops. The flowers I'm making this week are going to be spray roses, which I already have a tutorial on, and stephanotis flowers, which I'm going to show you how to make next week. Allow it to run on medium-low until the mixture comes together fairly homogeneously. It won't take long. Spread a liberal amount of shortening onto your bench scraper and on the table where you'll be kneading the gum paste, as well as your hands. Working quickly, scrape the gum paste out of the paddle attachment and remove any excess with your fingers. Scrape the bowl as clean as you can as you remove your gum paste onto your work table. As you can see, I'm really trying to scrape everything out and making sure I get every last drop because we put all this hard work in, we don't want to waste any of it. Next, you'll knead the gum paste well until it looks really smooth and homogeneous. You'll need to add more shortening to prevent it from sticking to your hands and the table. As long as you don't add more than the couple teaspoons of shortening that I put aside at the beginning, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about adding too much. If you've mixed it well in the stand mixer, it shouldn't take too long for it to come together. If you haven't mixed it well, it may take a little bit longer, but just be patient and it will be super smooth and nice and stretchy, just like you can see mine is here. So you can see the finished product here before maturation. So the texture is still slightly sticky, but really nice and stretchy. And once it matures in the fridge overnight, it will lose much of that stickiness and will be perfect to use just like that for all of your gum paste flowers. Add a bit more shortening to your bench scraper, and you're just gonna roughly cut this in half. Next, I'm just preparing some plastic wrap, and I'm going to cover each half in a little bit of a layer of shortening before I wrap it up in the plastic wrap, kind of like you would a candy. So you want it to be really tight in there and sealed shut on both ends so that it doesn't dry out in the fridge. Then you'll just repeat the same process of covering it in shortening and wrapping it in plastic wrap with the second half. If you are planning on making a lot of flowers, this recipe can be easily doubled or tripled or quadrupled even, so that you don't have to make gum paste as often. Usually I will make a quadruple batch because I do go through a lot of this stuff. Grab a zip top bag and seal your gum paste in there. Keep it in the fridge overnight to mature. So in the link in the description box below where the recipe is, I'm going to have all the substitutions just in case you can't find some of the ingredients. I know some things are difficult to find in certain countries, so hopefully that will help you out a lot. And I also have substitutions so that you can make this recipe vegan, which I know a lot of people were asking for as well. And one of my favorite things about this recipe is the fact that it uses water instead of fresh egg whites. Therefore, you can replace some of the water with food coloring, which is the magic in order to get super dark and rich and saturated colors for your gum paste. So make sure to download that recipe in the description box below. Once the gum paste has matured overnight, it is ready to use. You can see it is really firm right now. This is exactly the way you want it to be right out of the fridge, so don't be alarmed. Remove it from the zip top bag and remove it from the plastic wrap as well. Be sure to keep any excess well covered as you work. Grab your shortening and add a little bit to your hands. This will just prevent it from sticking because when it's fresh out of the fridge, it does tend to be just a little bit humid. So I'm just breaking off a little bit of a piece here at the top to start with. And make sure you keep that side well covered. And now I'm just going to give this a good knead. It will be really breaking apart at first, so this is totally normal. If you knead it enough, it will come together and be really nice and stretchy and smooth. Comment below and tell me the most annoying thing that you have a problem with while working with gum paste. Is it the cracked petals or is it the floppy petals as you're trying to work? Tell me all about it in the comments below. I hope when you try this recipe, it will remedy a lot of those issues. So once it is soft and smooth, you can use it as is or color it if you wish. Check out the printable recipe in the description box below, and I will show you how to create rich and deep colors without compromising the stability of your flowers. I'm going to quickly roll out this gum paste and show you what it should look like once you've rolled it to the correct thickness for petals. So I will be using a pasta machine here, but first I need to roll it thinly with my rolling pin to about 1 millimeter thick, and make sure it's no wider than the width of my pasta machine. I really like rolling out my gum paste on a silicone mat that you can see here. It helps prevent the sticking, and it also helps prevent me adding too much cornstarch or shortening as I'm rolling it out. I am going to take a touch of cornstarch on a fluffy brush to dry out the surface. Sometimes I don't need to do this, especially if the gum paste isn't as fresh as this one. Most of the time, just a touch of shortening will do the trick. But as this gum paste is only 1 day old, it's still pretty moist and I don't want it to stick to the pasta machine rollers. So once it is dry to the touch, I will take it over to my pasta machine and run it through, starting on number 1 and incrementally increasing it to number 5, which is the width I use for most flowers like roses or carnations, etc. If you plan on making a lot of sugar flowers, this machine is going to save you so much time and make your flowers look a lot better because it's really hard to roll gum paste this thin consistently. So I highly recommend purchasing a pasta roller. If you can, the KitchenAid attachment is awesome. So once it has reached the correct thickness, it should be quite translucent. But this gum paste does allow you to roll your petals super thin without breakage or cracks forming too quickly, which is just a few of the reasons that I really love this recipe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you give this recipe a try. If you do, please don't forget to tag me in all your flowers on social media at Finespun Cakes with 2 S's. And don't forget to download your printable gum paste recipe in the description box below. And if you did enjoy this recipe, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.